Yo, what's up? Back with another video. We're watching Renaldo Gouws as he talks about Andile Mngxitama. This one fills me with the giggles. I just feel like laughing. The video just popped up on my feed like 13 minutes ago, and his video has been posted for less than 30 minutes. So I haven't watched it. I feel like laughing because these are two deplorables. These are two guys who are equal in their depravity. You understand? And now they've come to clash here on God's earth. This is what you get when two extremes meet. So let's watch his video and I'll give some commentary as time goes. I honestly believe that Andile Mngxitama should not be a member of parliament, but there's a reason that he can be, and I will speak about that later.
Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So this video is going to focus on a member of parliament, Andile Mngxitama, that is currently continuing to spread hate speech and clearly act racist towards white people in South Africa. And
yo, shout out to you for pronouncing his surname quite nicely. I've accused you of copying embellishments of black people, the tech behind you there, you calling yourself Mlungu and whatever, but credit should go to your naturalization to this lands and the people here, and your tongue is able to speak their names, unlike Colonel Chris Wyatt there, who called Ntlamulo Humulolo.
Published on YouTube on Monday, 17 February 2025, where Mr. Nalumololo Note Mbaloy made several statements expressing his views on white people.
So, credit to you, dog.
Parliament is not doing anything. The South African Human Rights Commission is not doing anything. It's just nobody's doing anything about these utterances by a member of parliament. Now look,
has he said some new stuff? Inform us there, Ronaldo.
We can all go and say, yeah, I remember when Andile Mngxitama was a nobody, he was the leader of Black First, Land First, and then he was making outrageous claims, asking for the killing of women, children, dogs and cats. And then people said, it's just a radical individual. Well, this radical individual is now in parliament and he's not stopping. So I just want to show you the video that years ago set all of this off. Now this video is from 2018 and have a look at what he had to say.
Each one person that is being killed by the taxi industry will kill 5 white people.
For one person who gets killed by the taxi industry. Renaldo, what was the context here? What do taxis have to do with this? We are going through the subject matter with you. I'm your student currently. You're the lecturer there. Please, let's go. First line. For one person who gets killed by a taxi, we should just randomly go off 5 people, white people. So why was he saying these things? It's ridiculous though. It's ridiculous. I do not believe that there can be any justification or context that allows him to stand there and say what he says there. That's sinful, man. White people are God's people. Black people are God's people. We are all of God's people. So no one should speak about this about other people, but let's hear.
51 black person who kill 5 white people, who kill one of us, will kill 5 of you, will kill the children, will kill the women, will kill anything that we find on our way.
Hey, no. This is bloodthirsty, man. I remember playing a game, God of War, on PlayStation. When you do certain combos and you've been whipping the enemies for a long time, non-stop. Let's say you're in a room and there's a whole bunch of them. You see, like you've done like 50 hits in a row. It starts to say chaotic. And then you keep on hitting. And now you've been hitting 100 people in a row non-stop without missing. And then it says insane. And then you keep on smacking them. Like 150 now. And then it starts to say bloodthirsty. You see, this just sounds like somebody who drank whatever muti men apparently drink for them to go and commit heinous things. There's muti like that people apparently get from sangomas. Let's continue. I've been talking too much.
They kill one of us, we kill how many? They kill one of us, we kill how many? They kill one of us, we kill how many whites? We kill the children, we kill the women, we kill their dogs. We kill their cats. We kill anything that comes.
Insane.
So, I mean, how can you even defend that in court?
Can't.
You know, like you are on video in 2018 saying that we'll kill white people, we'll kill the women, the children, the dogs, the cats.
But here's the thing about a court, Renaldo. A court would look at the context, which is something that I know you like to skip over and focus on the emotion that his words raise. The court would require some kind of transcript because judges are never there present at a situation. These are people who sit in a room the whole day. They hardly pick up phones themselves to look at what's currently happening out in the world because they're constantly dealing with cases. So when cases are brought to them, they need to be given sufficient evidence that allows them to almost be present at the scene. So at a crime scene, the judge needs to have enough details about blood splatter on the walls, the next door person who heard the gunshot. You see, he's going to have to see footage of blood on the carpet. He's going to have to hear about the history of the person who was hurt, murdered, and the perpetrator. So the court will require to hear what exactly was being spoken. And if I remember properly, if I can bring in the context, maybe you won't. There had been an interview where Johan Rupert had gone on Power FM and he had made some comments which suggested that he has some kind of power to raise hell within the taxi associations, like he's got some men held, some men under him, and so he's able to control certain things and bring some flare-ups to things.
Oh, by the way, Jabo and I have one thing in common. He's chairman of the Taxi Association. And one of the first tenets of business partners was the Taxi Association. So I also have my own army when those red guys come. They've got to go and remember the Taxi Association. Remember the Taxi Association. No, but
Well done, red guys.
No.
Johan doesn't forget you.
So let's take Jabu.
Yeah.
And I think this came as Mngxitama's response to what Johan Rupert had said. And so if he's saying the taxi industry, I think he was saying that if Johan Rupert's words result in black people getting hurt and killed, there would have to be some vengeance in which Mngxitama suggests that the black people should go out and commit 5 times a retribution towards the white people. So, the court would deal with some context. But here is not the court. Here is a kangaroo court cult YouTube channel of yours where you are the pastor and we're just here to listen to you. And I think my internet connection has gone off, so this video is going to give me problems.
It is so obviously hate speech. And then when this was taken to the Equality Court, the verdict was no hate speech, nothing. And it was for costs for AfriForum that decided to take Andile Mngxitama.
So what was the judgment? Can you provide it in a link for download so that we really understand this matter? We can't be outraged forever. Neither should people who have lost a loved one mourn forever. You should get over your loved ones. You should get over them. You should get over them. And so if this was just an event and there's been no harm from it, why should we continue to be at pains over it if there's been a judgment as well about his words? Maybe the judge found that, AfriForum really didn't have a case. You tell us what happened. Will you? I'm not sure.
Decided to take Andile Mngxitama to court. So after seeing that video, I think 99% of rational people will look at that and go, that's hate speech. Not the courts. They said, and I quote, application is dismissed with costs, including all costs that were reserved. And that was in the sitting as the Equality Court Magistrate in the Johannesburg Central, 2nd of May 2023. So, you can say those things and it is completely acceptable. And because of that, this individual has become a member of parliament for Mkhonto Wesizwe, and now obviously he feels emboldened.
Yo, Ronaldo, I never knew that Mngxitama had been brought before a court and he had been vindicated. What is the vindication? The document you're reading, bro? I think I'm correct about this thing, this approach that you have. Like some one-trick pony way of explaining things in a way that just makes people go crazy and lack context. You should be more respecting to your people, bro. Your community is white people. These are respectable people. These are people who are high in society. You should do this skipping around the details, maybe with uneducated black people. You understand? Have some respect for people who respect themselves there, and give some respect by providing proper context there, man. Stop disrespecting your people there, man. Stop riling them up for nothing. Let's keep listening.
Because if you can say, kill the women, kill the children, kill the dogs, kill the cats, and for every one of us, we'll kill 5 of you. And then the Equality Court goes, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's just an attack on white people. Nah, don't worry about it.
Let me let this play while I search for the ruling, the judgment. Let me understand what has happened here. Let me quickly get a laptop while I let this play. Maybe at the end of this, I'll have an answer.
That obviously remains in your head, and then you feel emboldened to continue to do that. And that is exactly what Andile Mngxitama is doing now. Here you can see his latest tweet. This was this morning at 9 o'clock. Neanderthals claim there is a genocide against them, that time only one was murdered in the last reporting period, and most likely by his wife through white Izinkabi. These people are pathological liars. It's in their genes. That's how they can claim other people's land. So this is stereotyping an entire race. This is racist through and through.
Let me cue Katlego right here, generalizing and being racist, so that this judgment that Renaldo is passing on Mngxitama's words may be properly understood now for those who don't understand what racism, generalization, the relationship between them. You see, when you encounter one person who stinks, and as you encounter them, they look a certain way, they've got hair of a certain length, and thereafter you look at certain people who look like them and you generalize what that person smelled like, and you also now start to attribute it to their race. If you thought they stink because of their race, that becomes racism. Your generalization. You have, yes, proof of one person who looked a particular way, was a particular race, who dressed a certain way, with hair of a certain length, and they stank. That's correct. But when you now start to spread this out, you multiply on the calculator, multiply by their population, multiply by 4.5 billion, and you say these people stink. That's a generalization, and Katlego does that quite a lot. So you've got the generalization there. Let's go.
And of course, you would think then that something would happen. Well, the South African Human Rights Commission is clearly not interested in Andile Mngxitama, because he is the single-handed black individual that proves their theory wrong, that if a white person says something and a black person says something, it should be measured differently. Now, just to double down on that, he goes and says the extent of how evil the Neanderthals program is evidenced, and I'm assuming is what he meant, in how they came here, took our land, starved us, and turned us into workers in our own land, and they took all the benefits and impoverished all of us. To eat, we must work for them. How evil, we must correct this. It's amazing how after 31 years of being in control of a predominantly black government, Andile still finds a way to take it all the way back to apartheid, rather than blaming the current administration who's been in charge for 31 years. But once again, stereotypes galore, assuming all white people is like this, and just blatantly being racist. And then this is once again, the feeling so emboldened by not being found guilty by the Equality Court. He goes, indeed, we shall kill back. The right to self-defense is a natural right. Kill one and we come for 5. I don't think Andile Mngxitama knows how self-defense works, because if one person attempts to kill you and you kill 5 people, that is not self-defense. It blows my mind how in 2025, people feel so emboldened to say these things. Now, please remember, this is personal for me, because I was pretty much removed out of parliament by my political party that I used to belong to because of a video I made 15 years ago in which I showcased the double standards of racism and how I was speaking about how the media and the South African Human Rights Commission sees no problem with the person saying this, but if you had to say this, then you will be taken to court, etc. And that is exactly what is playing out right now with me.
So I started out the video by saying that I don't think Andile is a person who should be a member of parliament. And I liken the two of you. My issue with you, Renaldo, and what I said in my video previous is that we don't know you for nothing, but your video gives me personally the suspicion that you have joined or were joining a white supremacist cult, and you needed to say something extremely egregious, but you needed to hide it within a certain context. You need to say, this is in defense of that. You see what Andile Mngxitama did there and what you're discussing? You are discussing one person saying something, so the initial action and then the reaction to it. You decided to take the initial Kill the Boer song and you now decided to go kill the nigger, kill the kafir. You needed to say those particular words and you needed to say them on a platform, according to me, in order to be accepted into some dark circles. So for that reason, for the reason that the majority governs and this country cannot be led by people whom the majority feels aggrieved by. You can't be going around running programs and the majority of people are pissed off by you. You understand? You see how we managed to push aside all of that rubbish. That's the will of the people. The government implemented these things, upgraded the roads, put up gantries. They designed and manufactured those things that go, under your mirror in the car so that the gantry can scan you. Those things were manufactured in China in mass. They were packaged, then distributed, and we had to comply. But people decided, no, we have a choice. The many of us who don't agree with this can disagree with it. And if we boycott or we riot, if we decide that we are simply just not going to be having it, what are you going to do? And so the government just had to pull back. So the majority, the pressure in your case was the fact that you, my dude, are a white guy. You don't look like the majority. And your words are very harmful and very suspicious to a majority. And you acted like, this was in retaliation to something else. Mngxitama won his case by saying this was retaliation to something else. I'm about to read here in the judgment by the AfriForum and on the Human Rights Commission's website. There's mentioning of Johan Rupert there. There's a mentioning of Johan Rupert and you've completely skipped him. Because that's the president of Afrikaners. That's the head Afrikaners. That's the big dude. So his name was in the middle of all of this and you are making sure not to refer to that big baron. So my brother, I ended off by saying that Mngxitama is a problem. I believe that he runs a cult actually of people who hate white people. There's many options and many parties that are moderate that one can join where leaders are speaking pro-blackness that does not violate whiteness. It's possible to be pro-black and still love your neighbor as you love yourself, etc. The ANC, the EFF, the PAC, whatever, UDM, whatever other black party there is, there's many. Mngxitama's party is BLF, and him personally represent an extremism that I know about black people. Rastafarians, for example, are people whom when they are gathered in their smoking sessions or churches or indoctrination by their pastor there, they speak black supremacy and they get fired up, charged up. Yeah. Just like on the other side, you've got a gang there who hang out in the bush and drink clip drift and coke, sing the stem and hail oppressors of old. You and Mngxitama are the same, and I believe that he's slightly worse. But being in a black majority country and his utterances having a context of a defense against what Johan Rupert was saying, which was found as a possibility to incite black on black violence when he said that. And there's a context in the past where such as happened where the taxi industry and its clashes with the people resulted in so much unmitigated violence. So it seems like the Human Rights Court found that Johan Rupert had boo-booed and he had caused some fiery retaliation. And so they were like, okay, let's neutralize this. If we have to punish Andile Mngxitama, we may maybe have to bring in Johan Rupert. I don't know. Just speculating. Could be wrong. Let's go.
I spoke out against kill the boer, kill the farmer. And the way that I was treated is, for that example that I illustrated, I was removed from parliament. Yet, here we have Andile Mngxitama, who is a member of parliament, and he is continuing to say these terrible things, and he remains in parliament. Now, I want to show something to you, which I also think is really important, because if you want to go just along the lines of, oh, but, you know, the Human Rights Commission can decide to take him on. No, there's a lot more that can happen. He is currently a member of parliament. So, if you look at this, if you just read what it says there, it says, I, Renaldo Gouws, well, I mean, okay, I can't read. Let me read it like this. I, Renaldo Gouws, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect and uphold the Constitution and all other law of the Republic, and I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability. So help me God. And then it was signed by me, as you can see there. Now, this is an oath that every single member of parliament takes. Now, please tell me whether or not he is in breach of this oath, because ultimately you have to be held responsible for the things that you say, for the things that you do, and whether you...
I think he's continuing to do what you are saying. And let me tell you what's in his mind. What's in his mind is the current context with AfriForum. I've told you, we know, we should be aware about extremism and radicalization. There are people on the radical end of the spectrum, and you know them, Renaldo. You are friends with them. The AfriForum is extreme. What they're engaged in is extreme currently. And so don't be looking from one eye that only sees one group of people, my brother. This problem of inciting one another is a problem that we are all going to inherit. These leaders, extreme on both ends, are going to take us to the dogs. And if people need to be called out, you need to call out people on both sides. And what I'm reading there, what I was about to read, is quite old information. I think this was during the bringing of the case itself. So this is something on the Human Rights Commission about the case being brought. This does not speak about a finalization of the issue. It was a snapshot of a moment in time. So I haven't gotten what's relevant, and the memory card may just run out, and I don't want to waste your time making you watch too long a video. So yeah, man, Andile Mngxitama should not be in that parliament. But look, he's a black person in a majority black country. The majority does not feel that they may be harmed by him because his threats are not directly towards them. However, your threats, being a minority, being a white guy, were to a majority. And so the majority spoke against you. There would need to be a court or a majority standing against Mngxitama. If a court doesn't do so, then he stands. In the same way that Steve Bannon and Elon Musk are hailing Hitler in the United States, that's their white country. They can align with Hitler as much as they want. Truly, we have to realize that there's certain people that we can't do nothing about. There's nothing that we can do about them. We are powerless. And you might just be completely powerless to do anything about Andile Mngxitama's life. And all you can do, and you should do going forward, is just make videos about him and earn some money. Just speak for your people. Show the extremism as it comes out. I accept the video that you make. I accept the points that you make. I actually agree with you. So keep doing what you're doing, but accept at some point that you cannot do something to somebody who is a racism religion zealot like Andile Mngxitama. And we can't do anything about you because you're a zealot as well. A very ugly one. You, dog. Woo!
Act against or for this country. I think it's quite clear that if you call the white population Neanderthals and you say that for every one of us, meaning black individuals that are killed, we'll kill 5 of you, how is that in the best interest of South Africa? How is that adhering to your oath?
It's not. No South African needs to go and kill people. It's not in the interest. Calling people Neanderthals is not in the interest of this country. And as a member of parliament there, being watched by other countries, I don't think we really should be entertaining such things. But real in Katlego, reel her in, Renaldo, if you are not looking from one eye. Here's a cue again of her calling the whole population a problem of black people. She did not exclude any. She just said black people are a problem.
That you have sworn. It isn't. But then that is the double standards of racism in South Africa. You got Nota Baloyi that is now finally being taken to the Equality Court after so many people made a big scene about it, and even Elon Musk tweeting about it, and then the South African Human Rights Commission feeling a lot of pressure with all that attention on them. And finally they taken Nota Baloyi. But many people have reported Andile Mngxitama for saying farm murder. And that's another thing. You know, somebody said, nobody is going to take my land. The only way that you are going to do that is in a coffin. And then Andile Mngxitama, as a response to that post, said farm murder, meaning that you would kill that person to get them off the land.
Yeah, that's an extremist. You're listening to an extremist right there. You're listening to an extremist.
That was reported to the South African.
He's worse than you, but he's got a majority advantage. You are outnumbered, but you're just very, very much nearly horrible.
Get them off the land. That was reported to the South African Human Rights Commission, and nothing yet. And this is a member of parliament. And if you look at the response that they had to me, 12 hours from an article dropping to them opening a case against me for a 15-year-old video. Yet Andile Mngxitama said this in 2025, and the South African Human Rights Commission is like,
Well, your video is 15 years old, but my suspicion is that you were just getting into a gang. I believe that you were a young skinhead, a very passionate one. I believe that you were showing yourself to be a juvenile, a young expert offender. And so you probably, if we extrapolate your words into the future, if you had not gotten into trouble for them, at the compound growth rate of young racists, without being stopped by anything, without any outrage, you would have been a Hitler right now in your heart. But some people, many black people, have humbled you. You are a citizen now. You're actually doing a good job pointing out some of these issues. But this is not proven. I think that's the position the government kind of took about you. This video is over. Let me let it speed run at 1.5 times. I'm running out of space.
It is sick. It is sad. And I really wish that Parliament will take a stance against this, because this is not uniting South Africa. In actual fact, this is dividing us along racial lines, which is exactly what happened during apartheid. It is sickening that we have a person like this in Parliament that is choosing judges, that is writing policies that will become law. How is this?
Go, Renaldo, go!
How is this acceptable, South Africa? I'm not even asking as a white person. I'm asking as a South African. How is it possible that at the highest level in politics, we have an individual that's there that hates white people and wants to kill white people? Please, tell me how that is reasonable. And then within the first year of being, in the first few months of being a member of parliament, he breaches his oath time and time again with the shit that he is spewing. Let's not kid ourselves. Andile Mngxitama is a racist, and he hates white people, yet he is in parliament. Don't take my word for it. Listen to what the man has got to say. At what point does the South African Human Rights Commission act? At what point does the Equality Court be approached for this? It is sick. I don't understand how this is acceptable in 2025. I really do not understand this. If you can take me to the Equality Court for something I said 15 years ago, out of context, by the way, and used as hyperbole to speak on people talking about kill the farmer, but you can't take action against a current member of parliament that in 2025 says racist stuff and to kill people. How is it possible? And that's pretty much all I got to say. Please subscribe, smash the like button, share this video far and wide, become a member if you really feel the need to support me. You can do that by clicking the join button below. But this is now beyond the point of just talking about things. This has now reached the point where if the government doesn't act against one of their own, and if the South African Human Rights Commission doesn't act against one of their own, then we know what the stance is in this country with regards to white people.
If you don't act against Katlego, then we know your stance against black people. Speak about it at some point, Renaldo. Your intro to your video looks like her. She looks like she's in your stable. It seems like she's the mouth being used to pump out things that white people wish that they could say. Go reel that one in, because we're going to go all the way up and come diving straight down with that lady.
Because white people are constantly being attacked, belittled, insulted, and threatened by members of parliament. This needs to stop. That's all I gotta say. Till later, cheers and peace out.
Peace out, that's Renaldo. I'm out as well. Hope you like, hope you subscribe. I'll see you next time, and I'll be bringing you more of the current events as South Africa goes down the drain. And we are riding along, being zealots, some loving white racism, some loving black racism. Together, we are all deteriorating because we're playing with acid and it's eating our hands. I'll see you in the next video.